Hello, my friends. Okay, so this is going to be a little planetary weather report for July 12th through 18th, but more focused on the 12th, 13th, and 14th because there's something bigger in the sky that's happening then, and it's dominating the week, and there's really no need to talk about the other things. So this is also for Libra rising or Libra sun. I suggest listening to your rising sign, but you can do whatever you want. So Libra risings, the situation at hand is a Mars-Venus conjunction in Leo, and that is happening in your 11th house. So what does that mean? So Mars is the god of war, of strife, of action, of will, your get up and go, how you get things, take action. And Venus is Venus is a goddess of love, beauty, harmony, cohesion, coming together, and pleasures, possibly money, things that we like in the world, so our desires. So when they're coming together in Leo, it's like a blending of those two opposites. It's the blending of a masculine, feminine, of yin and yang. It's a compromise, almost a forgiveness, a reconciliation. Just healing of opposites, a synthesis of opposites, of will and desire, of taking action and what we want. And then in Leo, it is really about shining and having fun and just being your individual self, how you shine in the world, how you it's playful and just a bigger sense of individuality. So I would just say, like, in itself, like Venus, Mars coming together, great, it's wonderful, it's beautiful, it's this healing of opposites, it's a blending and coming together of masculine, feminine in a fun sign of Leo, of being outward, of being prideful and open and shining yourself, your individual self. But and also maybe taking the higher road, maybe being the bigger person and saying, you know what, we can come together and do better. And the reason this is important is because it's a part of a bigger situation that's been happening all of this year, but especially been kicked up since late June, early July, when Mars by itself went through this point in your 11th house of friends, groups, alliances, groups of people that you belong to, or you consider yourself one of them. That Mars energy was kicking up a lot of dust and aggression and strife, and that was late June, early July, the first week of 4th of July. All that stuff that just happened kicked that area up into high gear. Also dealing with the areas that we have been dealing with and we will be dealing with next year, of the Saturn-Uranus square, which is Saturn kind of locked down in the 5th house of fun, pleasure, romance, creativity, possibly children, and then Uranus kind of breaking things apart in Taurus in the 8th place of other people's money, spouse's money, money that might come to you from other sources, or kind of a I don't want to say psychic, karmic debt, a balancing of something owed. That's the 8th house. So whatever has been kicked up in this year, and then definitely with Mars going through in late June and early July, has been a little bit healed, but probably by Venus coming through in Leo, hitting that same point and saying, can we make this a little bit better? Can we heal this in some way? Can we put like a healing balm on it, or like sweeten it in some way? Yes, it's being healed, but right now with Mars and Venus coming together, that's even more so. It's more of like a massive okay, how can we have this key now. We have like some kind of blending, reconciliation, compromise, and synthesis of the two, and we need to make this work, and we can make it work, and we're seeing how it would make perfect sense for going forward, because we will be dealing with the Saturn-Uranus stuff in the 5th of pleasure, creativity, romance, children, and the 8th of other people's money, of other debts owed. So why is this? Okay, so you could stop it there and say that's pretty important and that's pretty great, but there's another bigger piece here, and I believe that's because I feel that this is a turning point in the narrative, because I feel a lot of people, myself included, are in this point, this bridge of like old life, new life, old level, new level. How do I get there? Where am I? I'm not quite on either side yet. I'm not in the old one fully, but I'm not in the new one fully, and I don't really know how to, figure that one out. I feel that this Venus Mars point is showing people, look, you have this key, and it can help turn the narrative now. And why I really focused on this was because I noticed that the degree that this happens at, it's like 19 degrees 43 minutes or 45 minutes of Leo. Okay, well, when we had the last eclipse in Gemini on June 10th, that eclipse was 19 degrees 46 minutes or something of Gemini. So that means that this Mars-Venus point and that eclipse are exactly sextile. And it could be nothing, and people would say, oh, it's just a sextile. For me, I don't brush something like that aside. There's no coincidences here that it's literally almost to the degree sextile. That just tells me that there is something correlated. Well, what could be correlated? Well, that last giant eclipse in Gemini we had is one of the last ones we're having in that whole series of Gemini Sagittarius that we've been dealing with all year. And that one wrapping, it was a new moon in Gemini in your ninth house of higher learning, spirituality, religion, belief system, ethics. Okay, and the Sagittarius Gemini axis is kind of closing down now. It's kind of like saying we're almost ready to wrap this up, and I see that as a metaphor and a mirror to the feeling of old life, new life, one level, next level, because what we are going to start getting are new eclipses coming on. Well, the first one coming through will be 18th roughly of November, and that's Taurus. So we're going to start getting Taurus Scorpio eclipses all next year. Why is that important? Well, it's important. It's a different change of pace. Okay, fine. But it also, all of those eclipses will be highlighting the Saturn-Uranus square that will still be going in your Aquarius house of pleasure, romance, creativity, children, and in your the Saturn, the Taurus place where it's the 8th, other people's money, other people's, other resources, or balanced is due, debts, whatever, debts owed, debts due. And, well, I could go into more about because you're Libra rising and why, that Uranus Taurus in the 8th is more important, but we'll leave it at that. We'll just keep on believing that this Uranus Taurus is important. Now it will continue to be very important next year, especially because those eclipses will be lighting it up. So how does this work with the Venus Mars? I feel that this Venus Mars happening right now is kind of giving you the key to the turning point of the narrative from old to new. And I feel that Gemini eclipse in like around June 10th, June 11th, 9th, 10th, 11th gave you kind of some polishing of the key that might be coming through now of like, oh yeah, that. I thought I forgot, oh, that was a month ago, but yeah, it's coming through now again. And you probably will get even more sharpened. The key will be sharpened further when you see some things come through August 9th, 10th, 11th, because the sun will be coming over this Venus-Mars point again and just kind of shining a little bit more, like a little bit more clarity, a little bit more sunlight there. It's kind of like having a dull key and then you take it back to the locksmith and they sharpen it. And you're like, yeah, now it works. I would pay attention to the things happening now, the things that happen June 10th-ish, right around those days, and August 10th-ish around those days, because these things will be just adding, sharpening, polishing the key to this narrative going forward, taking us from this realm that we have been dealing with the ninth house, belief system, ethics, and then the third house, everyday life, siblings, neighbors, to this 8th house, where the eclipses will be next year, the eighth house of other people's money or debts paid or owed, to the second house of your money and your assets. And I would like definitely pay attention to what's happening now, because the Saturn Uranus stuff is not going away anytime soon, and we're opening up this whole new chapter of eclipses coming through to really highlight all of those fixed placements. So I hope that made sense. I don't know if that, I mean, I think it did. Yeah, I hope that that wasn't too heavy with the astrology, but basically I would just pay attention to the dates I mentioned to see what this sense of cohesion, this sense of reconciliation and compromise is bringing to you, to your tool belt, to have this key going forward. And we will have more keys that show up because Mars will be entering Scorpio. We won't go into that now. But like, right now we can have this kind of joyous moment of coming together, this fun moment that can heal the wounds of what just happened in that 11th house of friends, groups, alliances. And you know, this will be like an ongoing story, but this is like another really good puzzle piece in it. And you know, being able to turn that narrative, making the connection is really important, because down the road you can benefit from yeah. All right, so that is what I have right now. Yeah, that is pretty much it. That is what I have, and I will be back next week. Okay, thanks.